Cooperation, Dr. Naledi Pandor is hosting the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates of the State of Palestine, Dr. Riad Malki, during an official visit to South Africa. Our SABC News International foreign editor, Sophie Mokoena, is on this story for us. Let's cross live to her. Thanks very much, Sophie, for joining us. We know that South Africa and Palestine enjoy a very strong relationship. Tell us more.
Yes, Nompu, indeed, the meeting is still underway where the Minister of International Relations of South Africa, Dr. Naledi Pandor, is meeting her counterpart, Dr. Riad Malki, and they are discussing the relations between South Africa and Palestine. Clearly, from my side, I suspect that what prompted this visit was the fact that the African Union took a decision to admit or to grant Israel observer status, and therefore that decision didn't augur well with the Palestinians, who are fighting very hard to ensure that they are also liberated. And this was giving an indication that African Union is actually dropping the ball in terms of supporting the Palestine question. And therefore, earlier on, the two leaders spoke. And let's take a listen at what Minister Naledi Pandor had to say about a decision taken by the AU Commission chair, particularly on this issue of granting Israel observer status, but also the response from the Minister of International Relations from Palestine, Dr. Malki, also talking about that matter. Let's take a listen.
For us, the decision to grant Israel observer status was a shocking one, in that it occurs in a year in which the oppressed people of Palestine have been hounded by destructive bombardments and continued illegal settlements of their land. There can be no justification for granting such status by the African Union, particularly given that the African Union publicly and strenuously objected to the deaths of Palestinians and the destruction of civilian infrastructure in your country.
The African Union has to debate that issue about admitting Israel as an observer state to the African Union. It coincides, unfortunately, with such escalation of aggression, of crimes of apartheid and crimes against humanity that Israel as an occupying power, as a state of apartheid, is committing against the Palestinians in the Palestinian occupied territories.
International Relations, Dr. Naledi Pandor, talking about the decision by the African Union to grant Israel observer status at the continental body. And of course, the Minister of International Relations in Palestine also responding to that question. And it is for that reason I am convinced that the Palestine delegation is here in South Africa to lobby South Africa to really push hard, particularly next week when ministers of foreign affairs and international relations on the continent will be meeting in Addis Ababa, the AU headquarters. South Africa saying they are going to ensure that that ministerial assembly that is going to prepare for the heads of state and government assembly in January to put this issue or this decision high on the agenda, because South Africa doesn't support the decision.
Thanks very much, Sophie Mokoena. She's our international foreign editor.